So now let me put that in present value, and then I can reverse and go over here to yield to see, okay, so that bumps up my yield, dropping it down $300 to 16.23. So subject to due diligence, I'll do that. So then she takes it back to the guy and says, you know, here's the offer. He says that's too low. And I said, well, basically investment to value maximums. And here you can see I even went above it, right? 450 divided by 60,000 is 68. So it's actually, you know, I like to stay at 65%, but I'm willing to squeeze up on this a little bit because of the seasoning and the big down payment and the type of collateral where the tenants are actually paying the P&I, right? The principal and interest on the note. If they're managing well, that's okay. So we got an acceptance, and she says, I don't usually put things under contract myself. So if you'll make up a contract, I will just, I'll pass it along. So then my contract went straight to the note holder himself, and I got all of the documents from him. And so then he knows, I know who he is, and he knows who I am. And I just made a verbal or / email agreement with the broker, and she was pulling $5,000 out of this deal. So she, even though I offered, you know, the 40,500, she took out what she wanted to make, 5,000, and she offered him 35.5. I would say that's probably pretty aggressive broker fee on this size of a deal, but heck, you know, it's not obscene or anything, but it might, you know, someone else might be willing to do, you know, 3,500 on this, and you might lose it if you're competing with other brokers. So, but anyhow, I'm not going to falter for that. And I told her in this price was my all out price. This price, 40,500, had to cover her broker fee and the closing costs. So what she did is offer him the 35.5 and said, I'll pay closing costs, whatever they end up being, out of my 5,000. I go, great, that works fine. So then I made up a contract, and well, first I to know whether I wanted to make up a contract, let me do this. We're gonna go over here and open up, I'm going to show you, there are 27 pages, because he sent a bunch of pages of payment history. Most of it was old, from like 3 years ago instead of the most recent stuff, but hold on. So anyway, I just want to show you a few of those pages that I think are the most important for like making a decision. So this was the fax cover that the note holder had originally sent to this note broker. So she's done her marketing. People in her area know that she's a note broker, and or she saw it listed somewhere and's been hustling and getting out there. So first deed of trust for 60,000 for sale. Attached are the following documents: the HUD-1 settlement statement. I like to see that because I want to know, how did it really come together? How did this deal really come together? Certification, record of first 6 payments made on note. Actually, I'm more interested in the last 12. Location, authority to run credit. That's pretty unusual to see, and I really like that they, with the file, they keep an authorization to run credit on the payer. That's very cool. Insurance, the note, the deed of trust, truth in lending, copies of checks, Okay, this is not an owner-occupied house. It is owned by who is a Marine, and the daughter of who manages the property and collects the rent. So dad's managing the property, and on this one, his daughter, who is a Marine, is the actual owner. I sold this father 4 other properties since February 23rd, 2007. He has been... this gal has been in the Marine Corps for 2.5 years. I have misplaced the credit report that I ordered, but you may run one with the authority to run credit attached as an item number 5 above. The credit was satisfactory. Please let me know if you need any additional information. So next thing, first is I'm looking at the HUD one. Looking at the HUD one here, and these are super, super small. So let's see if I can really get it up here without losing it here. Okay. So ordinarily, and I blocked out, you know, the personal stuff, but here's the HUD one settlement statement. I'm sure you've seen these for property and as well as notes or loans. But anyway, so I'm looking, okay, how did this deal come together? Great. Contract sales price, that matches. $80,000 right there. Settlement charges, this is the buyer's closing cost. $1,100, looks about right. Per diem interest, that's fine. Gross amount due from borrower, okay, yeah, fine. And then I come to this and I get my reality check. Okay, purchase money note, we know he carried a note for $60,000. But here's where that $20,000 that I thought was a cash down payment, it was really a renovation allowance, like a repair credit kind of thing. It was not hard capital. So I'm going, oh gosh, I really logged this in as they made a mistake, you know, on the bid sheet. And I just sort of saw that. And it's like, so what does this do? This makes it was 100%, you know, like a zero down payment deal, basically. Look at, here's the only amount of cash that the buyer had to bring in, $981 for some closing costs. Okay, so bummer. You know, that changed the deal a lot for me, but I didn't say no. But here's two things that I, you know, just categorically, but you can see that when I bring up the purchase agreement that I added a lot of conditions to that. To the purchase, and credit becomes a lot more important to me now, and verification of payment history becomes more important. Appraisal, I'm going to order an interior now. I really want to know, really want to know what that property's worth, and I'm going to ask to see if they have any proof that these renovations were done. Like, what kind of capital improvements have they done to the property, you know, in the last 3 years? And if there has been some significant ones that they can prove, you know, that would help me out a lot here. I want to see they got skin in the game. Okay. Excuse me. Okay. The rest of this stuff is the other side of it. You can see that, you know, the seller basically only walked away from, actually, the seller had to bring in $248 or something to close, probably because of this tax proration, so, and whatever else. But see, he actually had to pay money to get rid of this property. So that is a really big different conversation than before, when I was assuming that nice big fat 25% down payment. The other HUD, the only reason, you know, I would look at this, and because I like to, it's a way for me to prove, like I'll see on this page where the title policy, you know, the insurance or the insurances were done here. For some reason, they blacked these out. But, you know, you usually can tell, did they buy an owner's policy? Yes. And then I like to see, did they do a lender's policy? I always like to see a lender's policy, because if they haven't gotten a lender's policy when they originally carried the note, then they're going to have to buy that. They're going to have to purchase that before, you know, before... I got to have a lender's title policy. That's all there is to it. So they have to buy it if there's not one that I can have endorsed over to me. Okay, so that's basically all I wanted to show you right there. Okay, now here's the note. So let's just, and you know, a lot of notes are different. You know, when you're dealing in the private carryback, notes and deeds of trust are really different, whereas, you know, institutional paper tends to look, you know, suspiciously uniform. But so you just got to get in the habit of trusting yourself to read stuff. So